It says it's unusual on the bottle.
It says it's unusual in your mouth.
Alright, it is Monday, September 18th, and we are packing for Belgium and the WTC. I am currently trying to figure out how to get VetCat into my luggage because I normally travel with this thing, and it is not exactly ideal for that kind of carrying case. So we're taking our old Malifaux bag, and we are trying to fit everything in there. That's going to be our carry-on, so I have to restructure things, figure out how I'm taking my tokens, and I will see you guys at the airport. Guys, I'm here at O'Hare International Airport. We are waiting for our flight to start. It's like 9 o'clock. Flight doesn't leave until 10. Right? And we're just casually strolling along on the sidewalk. Yeah. If you look over here, there's my girlfriend. Alright, so it is Wednesday. We are in Brussels. We're all checked in. We crashed pretty hard last night after we got in, so I didn't really blog or anything. I went through my luggage, and this managed to make it through customs without getting destroyed, which I'm pretty excited about. This is one of Chicago's great traditions, and I thought we'd bring it to WTC since a lot of even the American teams won't have had this before. Jeppson's Malort, famous for its Malort face. Hopefully, if I do everything correctly, we can now cut to a bunch of WTC members making the Malort face.
Oh, God. It's a bitter aftertaste.
I've had worse.
Yeah.
That aftertaste is awful.
Yeah, the aftertaste is the worst.
It's like paint strip.
Yeah, it's like filleting a car, right?
Oh, God.
Or
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's the aftertaste that really makes it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck, man.
That is fucking rank. I'm not gonna lie.
As a shot, yeah?
Yeah, as a shot.
God, you think you got the grip for it.
I went down the wrong way.
You're like into the stomach.
Alright, it is Thursday, September 21st. Yesterday we went into Brussels. We tried some local Belgian food. Zare had the mussels, which were really good, and I learned that Blackwell sauce is not for me at all. We did the beer museum, which was slightly underwhelming, and we went to Delirium. I really liked Delirium. We have some of it in the States, but not a lot of it. Like, I think they only carry like 3 bottles overseas, or 3 different types overseas, but they had like 28 taps, so that was a really good time. We did a bunch of small different beers and tried it out. I was a little bit disappointed though that we couldn't really take any of it home because they wanted 3 times the price of it in the shops here, which just like kind of doesn't make sense to me. Why they would charge that much more when they're like we're buying it straight from them. We're going to Ghent today, and Zaray's going to get to see all the castles, and she's really excited. Huggy said this was the hipster capital of Belgium, so I'm excited about that. And oh, the other thing is I wanted to show you guys the shirts I got for the other America guys to wear during the WTC. So we have this one for Zach. And then we have for Alex, we got, and then finally for Pat, because obviously Pat is the sassiest of us. And then I happened to have one. I'm really excited about that. We're going to be absolutely ridiculous this weekend. England 2 challenged us to a grudge match, so we're going to be playing that Friday night, hopefully. They said they're not going to be playing their traditional rosters because they don't need any more practice, so I might play Farmers. I think that might be pretty fun. Today is Friday the 22nd. We met up with Pat and Alex last night and went to Delirium. We got stuck in Brussels because apparently the train stopped running at midnight, and we took an Uber back with some nice missionaries that were also from America, so that worked out. And then tonight we have the main event, and we're in a train station, so you can hear the train going in the background. Tonight we have grudge matches with, I believe we were challenged by British 2, and since British 2's not playing their main lists, I think I'm gonna mix up my alchemists. I might play some of my new Venom tech, which I can talk about a little bit later. And I think the train is coming, so I'm gonna cut this short. Alright guys, it is Saturday, day of. We are going down to breakfast. Hopefully we can get through the line in less than the hour and 15 it took yesterday to get through the food line. We still got to give our shirts to Pat and Alex and Zach. I'm really excited about what I'm playing today. Playing this really dumb, janky smoke skew that essentially just tries not to play the game. And we'll check back in with you guys after breakfast. so we just finished our game against Sweden 1. Pat lost to Masons. Alex played into Fish and won, and I played into Blackheart and won. It was a really good game, just Smoke doing Smoke things. He received, but I was able to keep him to 1 goal. And so he just scored his 1 goal, and I just like bled his team out, and every turn I got up 5 minutes on the clock. So I felt really, really comfortable. I was really worried when Catalyst had Blackheart on 2 hit points with a condition and flat dice, and I missed the Witness Me. So that could have invited disaster in, but I managed to pull out a 8-point smoke activation followed by a Witness Me on mist. So it worked out. I'm really happy. We'll see you again next round. All right, round 2 is now over. USA 1 managed to sweep Germany 3. Me, Pat, and Alex all won our games. I had to play against Morticians, which was kind of interesting and rough, but he had a bad run of dice that left me with a 50-50 to kill Obulus, who's on 7 influence with Cat, and I got there. So the game was pretty well in control after that. But both USA 2 and USA 3 were eliminated, which sucks. I would have really loved a 3 USA semis. Would have really just like made my weekend. But yeah, we'll go into the next round. Really just the best teams left now. Everybody's scary. I think any one of these teams could beat us, but we're gonna go all the way. I'm excited. All right, we just finished our last game of the day. Me and Alex have finished at the time that I'm recording this, and Pat is still playing, but per our agreement, we're not telling each other if we've won. So Pat's still playing, thinking the game's on the line, which is how we've practiced it. So that's what we're doing. I managed to get there versus a Union player, and Alex beat a Butchers player. It's Team Belgium 1, which has like some of the coolest dudes on it ever. Huggy, shout out to you. You're on that thing. So from here, we're just gonna have dinner. I'm gonna play some fun games, and I will see you guys tomorrow. USA moving on to semifinals. Let's go. All right, it is Sunday morning of day 2. We are undefeated, looking to win our semifinal game, go to finals, and then put this thing away for USA. Everything's gone pretty well so far. I'm walking to breakfast. Fortunately, Zaray's gotten sick. But man, I'm excited. All right, you guys may notice that I'm back in the States now. I had one video whose audio quality was just unacceptable, and I lost a video somewhere. So I'm just gonna recap what kind of happened in the last 2 rounds. We end up losing to Germany 1. We all play really good games. I misposition an AoE by maybe 2 millimeters, and it allows Hammer to get into me early, which is just an absolute disaster because my list can't fight a tough hide model, but it also can kind of keep him at bay indefinitely if I play correctly. And both Pat and Alex have similar kind of tiny mistakes that cost them games. And when you play at top tables against excellent players like that, that's just the way that the breaks go. If you make mistakes like that and they don't make mistakes like that, they get to win and you don't. I think all the games are really good though. Last round we got paired into Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast dropped Engineers into me, which is one of the matchups we were trying to avoid. But I still think it's a 50-50. I think if I receive the ball, I am still just in really, really good shape, or if he just uses the ball and takes an early goal with it, which is what he ends up doing. He receives and ends up taking an early goal. There's a moment in the game where essentially Hoist takes some free strikes and doesn't die, and he's queued up to be my Witness Me target with Reanimate popped and all that. And because Hoist doesn't die, all of a sudden I'm in big, big trouble. But then he has his captain kill Flask, and Flask deals 3 damage to his captain through the tough hide and lights him and puts his conditions back on him, which is all of a sudden now a Witness Me target possible, because the difference between 14 health tough hide, no condition, and 11 health with a condition is huge. So I end up putting that down. We end up sweeping last round, but we unfortunately don't manage to place because our strength of schedule is just pretty bad. Everybody we beat seemed to lose their next round after. But we placed 4th, and it really just comes down to the fact that we should have won one of the games against Germany, but we just couldn't quite manage it. The WTC was a really, really good time. I really enjoyed the people I met there, even the ones I was worried about liking because they threw shade at us. They were all really, really good guys deep down, and I had a really good time as a result. All the Belgian guys, all the UK guys were all fantastic. Germany was a great set of opponents and absolutely deserved to beat us with how we played. Alright, so I want to kind of end this blog with talking about what I played at WTC and our overall strategy. We played it pretty close to the vest, not wanting to give away what we were doing because I was to play askew. I have been working on a smoke list that actively tried not to play the game. So essentially what it wants to do is it wants to keep players away from it as long as possible and always have last activation, and it usually does that by allowing you to go first, which is really counterintuitive to how Guild Ball is normally played. So my list is Smoke, Flask, Vet Cat, Harry the Hat, and the 2 AoE throwers, Merc and Calculus. And so essentially we're going to build 2 momentum off of throwing the AoEs, and we're going to try to keep people at bay with that. And if we have the ball, they have no momentum unless they can get into us. And we also have blind as an option to keep people at bay on the turn that they come into us. It protects Vetcat. Vetcat essentially doesn't fight unless he can witness me. And that's the turn that you want to go first, is you want to go first with Vetcat, witness me someone off the table, and essentially still be up in activation, so Smoke can still activate last. Because it doesn't matter if they have things like smelling salts or anything along those lines, if Smoke is activating last and just pushing all the conditions back on. So they're always going to bleed out, and you have a couple turns before they can force you to close. The other thing that's really counterintuitive about it is if you kick with the ball, you just still try not to play the game. You have no ability to fight for the ball. And the correct way to beat the list is to use the ball to generate momentum and to get into me and then fight me because my list can't brawl. But there's this tempting free goal to take, and if you take it, then we're just back in the same situation that I want. I'm just down 4 points. And then the other thing that's counterintuitive to do is another way to beat the list is if you are beating it on momentum is to make it go first. Because if I can't kill a player and Smoke can't activate last, you can clear all these conditions and then I'm in all kinds of trouble. I'm not bleeding you with my damage. It went really, really well except for my game against Germany. There's a couple... So he played Hammer into me, which I was really, really surprised about. Because if he plays Hammer and I receive, I have no idea how he can win that game. He has to just run at me and hope that he gets to me before I kill all his players, or before they all bleed out. If he receives, it's still fine, because at some point he probably has to give me Hammer. And a Hammer list without Hammer for a turn is a real big problem. But he also had Knee Slider, so he hit it and Knee Slidered out. And a lot of that is predicated on my misplay of that AoE, because if I place that AoE correctly, he can still get to me, but he's got to kick the ball to someone and dodge, and then that prevents him from also taking the 4-point goal with Knee Slider and getting Hammer back out on the next turn. So essentially the list is just a crazy skew. I played the same 6 models every single round. It was really, really successful. I beat a Mortician's player, 2 Blackheart Union, and a Engineers Ballista player. And the Ballista match is rough in a lot of ways due to all the tough hide and a lot of things that just the conditions aren't great against. But I still think it's a coin flip. I think it's still just, if you're better than your opponent, you can just play your way out of it. But it does hurt if he receives the ball and knows what you're doing. So I
I got away with a lot of stuff because they didn't know what I was doing, and because of the format of the tournament, they were able to keep me out of my bad matchups, which is like fish. Fish just, I have no idea how to deal with that matchup post errata. That's good. What I'm going to be working on for the next couple months as we approach SteamCon. And yeah, so that was my list. WTC. Everyone should try to get as good as they can so they can go to WTC, because it's one of the most fun tournaments I have ever done. Totally worth the trip out there. All right, I will see you guys in 2 weeks for another Run the Length.